A couple of years ago, I was a very different person. When you're on a journey of self improvement and a journey of self mastery, you tend to go through phases of discovering yourself, go through phases of reinventing yourself, and I've been through multiple of those phases. So, a couple of years ago, I wasn't as socially capable as I am now. And there used to be certain scenarios where I would feel a lot of anxiety. And one of my greatest fears was the fear of public judgment. I was afraid of being judged in public for things that I would enjoy. So, for instance, whether that would be cracking a joke out loud in public or just shouting out loud in public to express how I feel or acting in any way that would be against the norm of society. If I felt this like internal cringe come out of me whenever I would try and do that because it was so abnormal, I desperately wanted to fit in. And that's a very human tendency to do so because back in the day, we operated in tribes, we operated in communities, and if you didn't fit with the norms of the community, you were going to be cast out. So doing anything that was against society's norm felt like a massive fear for me, and it was something that I took years to overcome. Which leads me to my message for this video. I want you to face your fears. I've been on this journey of self-discovery and self-mastery for about 4 years now, and every now and then you're going to fall off track. And I've been trying to get back on track with how intense my practice of self-discovery and self-mastery were a couple of years ago. Within that process, a couple of days ago, I journaled. I journaled to vent, I journaled to talk about how I felt like I was moving a little bit aimless and a little bit purposeless in life. And I wanted to think about what was the biggest driver of my journey so far. And while I was journaling, I figured out what it is that I did in order to get to where I am right now. There you go. Focus. Here you go. Facing fear deliberately. Facing fear deliberately is what got me to where I am right now. And I'm extremely proud of where I've gotten, but of course, I realize that there's a life's journey ahead of me, and I want to continue this practice. Often it is that the thing that you fear the most is what you actually need to do. As humans, we tend to have fear surrounding a lot of things, especially things that were influenced by society. We have the fear of doing something out of the norm of society. We have the fear of doing tasks that others would consider to be brave because we form a herd and we develop a herd-like mentality. Which is why I think it's more important than ever for me to put this message out there. I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to list out what it is that you fear. Preferably, I'd like you to lock yourself in your room so that it's just you, eliminate all distractions, and just ask yourself, if there was one thing that I would be afraid of, or one person even maybe, what would that be? What do I fear the most? In my journaling session, I figured out that the thing that I feared the most was public judgment back in the day. Nowadays, it's more so the fear of wasting my life and the fear of ending up just like everybody else in a miserable cycle, in a loop that will go through the rest of my life. I'm really afraid of that. Second thing I want you to do is think about what you can do to eliminate that fear. What can you do to remove that fear from yourself today? For instance, a couple of years ago, my fear was public judgment, right? It's to be judged for who I am or what I do because I don't fit into society's norms. I guess this video could be a testimonial of my journey from that place. Because what else is worse public judgment than being judged online by multiple people? I say multiple, by hundreds, thousands of people. So I've made progress in this regard. So let me give you an example. If you're afraid of being rejected by a girl, what I need you to do is to go ask a girl out. Regardless of the outcome, what you're going to achieve from that is a bit of confidence. Regardless of whether it's a yes or a no, you've done the task. Fear is inherently very powerful as a driver of improvement and as a driver of becoming someone new and someone better. But fear is also a very strong agent that causes paralysis. You can be afraid, but that doesn't mean you get to be stagnant. If you're afraid, it doesn't mean that you don't move back or don't move front. Because you're afraid, you tend to stay stagnant in that moment. How do you break that fear? You go front or you go back or you move somewhere else. You try something, do something, fail at it. Whether that reinforces your fear or not is something we'll talk about later, but I want you to do the task first because that's going to eliminate the fear. And you're going to walk away from it thinking, wow, that wasn't that difficult. I would like you to practice facing your fears from today. Every week, I want you to write down one thing that you're afraid of. And every week, I want you to go out and do it. Doing so will give you a few benefits, such as the fact that you're going to gain confidence in your own abilities. And secondly, you're also going to lose this fear of failing at that particular task or being judged or whatever negative outcome that you associate with doing a particular task because you've done it already. You've done it already. And this comes to my main point, which is that when you face your fears, you reinforce your own capabilities. And that's paramount for success in any venture, not just business, not just like sports per se. It can be anything. Your confidence is what will get you places. And in order to build up your confidence, you need to face your fears. Because what would you like to be remembered as? A man that's a coward? Or a man that's faced his fears? I'd like to think of the latter, honestly. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this very simple rationale that you can use to trick your brain in order to do this task that I'm telling you. The downside of you facing your fear would be what? What negative outcome are you associating it with? Rejection? Being socially outcasted? Getting fired from a job if your fears are that deep? What is it? I want you to write down the real downside of facing your fears. And after that, I want you to sit there and think about how bad that situation truly is. What is the worst situation that could happen when you face your fear? And more often than not, you will realize that facing your fear doesn't have that great of a downside, but it has unlimited upside. Because that unlimited upside is coming from your confidence. So face your fears today. I think that's it from me today. But yeah, I'm going to go out there and face my fears myself too. So we're on this path together. Good luck.